Morning, everyone. So Joan asked me to have a chat to everyone today about our career development strategy at Kapunda High School so far. I can't be there today because we've got subject selection at school, so I've just made a really quick video with a couple of the points that I've come across along the way. So we'll start off with the journey so far. So about 3 years ago, we got our first career development strategy funding grant. It was $20,000, and I thought it was the best idea since sliced bread. So really excited about it. And when we got the funding, I undertook a Cert 4 in career development practices, and also had a heap of staff trained in coaching young people for success. As I undertook the career development certificate, I probably realised that as even though I've been a vet coordinator for quite a long time and working with students into careers, I've been doing it all wrong, and I felt this really immense sense of pressure that we need to get it right in our school, otherwise we're just going to ruin our students' lives, pretty much. So I found it really a little bit overwhelming to begin with, to be honest, um, but still very exciting. And definitely, the more I learned about implementing a career development service, the more I wanted to make this right. So the moving forward a couple of years. We got another grant, and so I was able to extend what we were doing. But probably this year, with all the training that we've been doing around strategic planning, that's probably been the best thing for me to look at putting something in place that is doable, that is achievable in amongst the busyness of the school life that we all encounter every single day. So yeah, so we got our first grant. We took some small steps. We did some training, and we implemented a, a extended home group activities as well around career development. So, and that's still in place. Probably still not exactly what I'd like it to be, but that's certainly still in place. I remember going to some PD and looking at what other schools were doing around career development implementation across their schools, and thinking, wow, there's some amazing things happening out there. I found that my Cert 4 in career development practices was really good foundation for bringing on this change, but definitely had a realisation that the world of work really is changing. So we'll talk about the successes. Excuse me, sorry. So first of all, one of the things that was really key as we moved forward with our career development strategy was changing the language with our behaviour management discussions. So it's become part of the culture now at school to talk about behaviour management from the perspective of how making better choices can set the student up for better opportunities later in life. So it's not about you haven't met the school behaviour management policy, so therefore you get a consequence. It's about, if you made a better choice, how could that help you when you were going out into the workforce, and getting the students to actually begin those conversations, engage in those conversations, and make those connections themselves. So that's become part of our school culture with our year level managers and our senior leadership team when they're having the behaviour management discussions with students. We completely rewrote the PLP program and have engaged the wider community in that, and we've had really good feedback about how that's going from the students. They're enjoying the PLP program. They make really good connections between the learning and its connection to their future, and that I have a really good team of PLP teachers who are really passionate about continuously improving the program. So we review the program every year, update it every single year, and so it's just continuously evolving. So that's been great. The extended home group program is in place. It's not what I would like it to be, and that will be a work in progress. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And this year, creating the strategy action plan has been definitely something that's helped me probably get over the stress and the pressure of making sure that I get this right and being able to break it down into achievable bite-sized pieces, and look at how I can actually do this without failing the students. This year we've got a whole staff professional development day with the theme being the future world of work. That's coming up this September. And I guess the point of that is just to open the teachers' eyes to the change that's going on in the world of work at the moment, right here in Adelaide, in the world of learning, tertiary learning, etc. So instead of having a day of PD at school, we're actually all going to catch the bus into Adelaide, and we're going to spend the day doing a walking tour, looking at some of the social actions that are going on, looking at some of the learning spaces and how they're changing, and looking at why they're changing. And we're going to do a tour of the new RA and just sort of start to understand how the workplace is really changing quite rapidly, and it's not something that's happening in the future, but it's actually happening right now and right here. So very excited about that. There have been barriers and issues. Definitely, as we all know, the busyness of schools, it's so, we always prioritise the behaviour management issues or the wellbeing issues of students, and so you can have the best laid plans, but something always pops up, and we find that we just don't get time to get to things. Certainly, because our school is a smaller school, then most of us in leadership are wearing a few different hats, and so trying to keep up with all of the different roles can get a little bit challenging at times. Also, I think maybe I've been a little bit of a scab with the funding that we've got, and so I didn't want to waste it on things like buying an extra line of time so that I can dedicate some time to this. But in hindsight, I really think that that's the key to being successful, is having some allocated time, making sure that you put aside time to work on this, and allow yourself that opportunity to be able to create the change. But you need to do the learning and you need to do the planning to be able to do that really effectively. So when we first started the career development strategy, I definitely felt like the dancing man. I'm not sure if you've seen this video, but Joan, if everyone hasn't seen the video, I'll get you to stop my video now and just play the link to the dancing man that I sent you. And we'll talk about that in a little minute. So as we came along, I think that definitely more and more and more of the staff are coming on onto the bandwagon of the career development strategy. Now we've got a professional learning committee around career development. Certainly all of the year level managers and senior leadership team are on board. We've engaged the wider community, employers, the governing council, and so that's really been really positive. So, I'm talking about the career strategy all the time in social media and in our newsletters, so that the language isn't new, or hopefully people have heard of it. I think one thing that I did try and do, which was a definite mistake early on, is that I showed some videos about how the world of work is changing, and they're quite impactful. And I was trying to just do little snippets of information without bombarding people with too much. So I'd show the video, we'd have a quick talk about it, or I'd make a quick point about it, and then, we'd move forward. In hindsight, I've realised that what I was doing was showing the impact of the changing world of work, but I wasn't delivering the hope aspect of it. So too many people in the school community were thinking, oh my God, there's all this change coming, AI is going to take all of the jobs and the kids have got no hope for their future. And so I really have had to backtrack a little bit and talk about, yep, AI is changing the world of work. However, there's still lots of opportunities that are available for them. They're just going to need a different skill set, and the way we prepare them for that needs to probably change in our classrooms as well. So that's the change that I'm trying to implement at the moment. Definitely, as I said earlier, I needed to give myself more time. buy more time with the funding. I think that's a really good way of using the funding now in hindsight. And some workable strategies that have been working for me to be able to implement this change. Certainly not finished our journey, but yeah, so I didn't buy a line of time, but sometimes I'll go to our regional office and just have a complete day there without interruptions, where I can just smash out work on the strategic plan or on whatever that's going to help me to move the career development strategy along. We all know that schools can get so busy, and you know, we'll just have to drop everything because you've got to go fix this or that. So I find that that's a really powerful way of doing that, and I've been doing that probably one day a term, where I just go out. I've either worked with the SAO or worked on my own and just really smashed out a heap of work in that one day. Definitely seeking staff and student input, so doing surveys, short surveys, getting the feedback from the staff and students has been eye-opening for me. That's how I found out that perhaps I was actually scaring staff with the way the world of work is changing, rather than, you know, bringing that message of hope about how the world of work is changing. Definitely I've spent some time speaking to the Governing Council and really developing lots of relationships with the employers and our wider community, which has been very powerful for evoking change and creating conversation around career development. I think that we know that teachers have got lots of priorities. You know, every student has to get their say. There's literacy and numeracy priorities, there's wellbeing priorities in schools. I've been really trying to sell this message about career development as being something that we already do, but we just need to refine. We need to give the students the opportunity to talk about the skills that they're developing in the classroom and how they relate to their future, rather than being something extra and on top of what they're already doing. But so I try and be subtle but persistent with my message. Definitely, I've been strategic about how I've introduced the career strategy and how I continue to introduce the career strategy. And I'm not the only voice, so I'll get a guest speaker in to speak about, you know, different programs like Inspiring the Future, or an opportunity that's going on, a local employment opportunity. Come and talk to the staff about it, just to open everybody's eyes to the fact that this isn't, you know, just a career counsellor issue, but this is a whole community issue, and that if we all work together, then it can only be better for the students. So that's the end of my presentation. I'm sure that you guys have come across your own challenges along the way. I think that using this time that we're given to do the strategic action planning is really valuable, and hope that today's a really productive day for you guys. Okay, thanks for listening.